The scream wasn't loud, just sharp enough to slice through the humidity of the late July morning. It came from the community pool, where sunlight glimmered across the water like broken glass. I was halfway down the stepping path when I heard it, a sound that made every nerve in me lock up. Mom! Mom! My daughter, Lily, 12 years old and faster in the water than any kid in our entire HOA, broke the surface with panic in her eyes. She clung to the edge of the pool like something had just pulled her under. I sprinted. Other parents looked up from their folding chairs, confused, annoyed that their Saturday calm had been disturbed. But one pair of eyes, sharp, narrowed, venomous, was fixed on Lily with something colder than irritation. Karen Whitfield. Her daughter, Madison, floated lazily in the next lane, pretending not to watch, though I knew she was. Her competitive smirk was as familiar to me as the HOA newsletters Karen shoved under our doors every week. I knelt by Lily. Hey, what happened? You okay? She gulped air, shaking. Someone grabbed my ankle. Pulled me under. Before I could respond, Karen strutted over in her oversized sunglasses, lips already pursed into accusation. Oh, please, she said loudly enough for the crowd. Your kid needs to stop pretending she's the victim. No one touched her. I stared at her. She was terrified. And she's dramatic, Karen fired back. Ever since she beat Madison at the summer meet, she acts like everyone's out to get her. A ripple went through the parents. They weren't fans of drama, and Karen knew how to weaponize that. But something in Lily's trembling hands told me this wasn't nothing. I stood, facing Karen. Are you accusing my daughter of lying? Karen tilted her head, smiling the way a shark might. I'm saying she's insecure. And you're enabling it. Heat crawled up my spine. 4 months, the HOA queen bee had treated Madison's second-place finish like a personal betrayal. She'd thrown complaints at us, sabotaged practice times, pushed for new eligibility rules. But this was different. This was physical. I turned to the pool manager, Tom, who had finally jogged over. Check the cameras. Karen barked a laugh. The cameras? They don't cover the lanes, genius. Tom looked uncomfortable. She's right. They only see the deck. Convenient. Too convenient. Across the pool, a couple of teenagers whispered, glancing our way. Someone muttered something about Karen losing it again. Someone else mentioned she'd been screaming at the maintenance guy earlier. The tension felt like static around us. Lily tugged my arm. Mom, can we go home? Before I could answer, Karen stepped closer, lowering her voice but sharpening her tone. Take your daughter home, sure. But don't start drama in the community. We're tired of it. We? I asked. The HOA board, she said, smiling like she owned the whole neighborhood. I'd dealt with difficult neighbors before. Karen was not difficult. Karen was dangerous. And the way she had stalked toward Lily a little too fast, the way Lily's goggles had been missing from the side of the pool, the way Madison couldn't meet my eyes. Something wasn't right. I put my hand on Lily's back and led her toward the exit. Parents watched, whispering behind their sun hats while Karen returned to her seat as if she had one. But halfway to the gate, a shadow crossed my path. It was Mark, the lifeguard. Barely 20, but today he looked older, nervous. Mrs. Dawson, he said quietly. Yes? He glanced around to make sure Karen wasn't looking, then lowered his voice. I saw something. In the water. I didn't want to yell across the pool, but Lily didn't imagine it. My stomach dropped. You saw someone grab her? He swallowed. Not someone. Something. Like a long arm? Or maybe someone from under the lane divider. I don't know. But it wasn't normal. I felt cold. Why didn't you say anything? Because Karen told me not to. His voice cracked. She said if I create hysteria, I'll lose my job. She's the acting HOA safety chair. She controls the hiring. Of course she did. My heart pounded. Thank you, Mark. You did the right thing. He nodded quickly and slipped away. I guided Lily to the parking lot. She clung to my hand, still trembling. Mom, she hates me, she whispered. She wants me gone. She can't touch you, I said, but I didn't believe it. Not entirely. Not anymore. As we reached our car, a sheet of paper fluttered under the windshield wipers. Bright pink. HOA stationery. A violation notice. I tore it free. Unauthorized use of community facilities. Fine, $250. Issued by Safety Chair Karen Whitfield. My jaw clenched. She had filed it while we were still inside. As if she had planned it. Then I saw something else. Written in pen, at the bottom. Next time, keep your daughter in her lane. My breath froze. This wasn't rivalry. This wasn't HOA politics. This was a warning. I looked back toward the pool. Karen sat under her umbrella, sunglasses lifted just enough for me to see the smirk inside them. She wasn't hiding anymore. And whatever had happened to Lily in that water, it wasn't over. Not even close. By evening, the sun had dipped behind the HOA clubhouse, casting long shadows across the neighborhood streets. The kind of shadows that made every hedge look like a crouching figure and every window seem like an eye. Lily was upstairs, finally asleep after hours of shaking and crying. I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop open, the violation notice beside me like a taunt. Next time, keep your daughter in her lane. Karen's handwriting, sharp, angular, aggressive, felt like a blade. I pulled up the HOA meeting recordings, all publicly available thanks to some transparency rule Karen herself loved bragging about. For weeks now, she had been pushing amendments, one after another, all aimed at youth sports safety. Every one of them subtly favored her daughter Madison. But then something caught my eye. A motion from last Tuesday. Restricted pool access for minors outside approved HOA supervised practice times. Proposed by Karen Whitfield. Seconded by no one. Yet it passed. I frowned. Motions don't pass without a second. That's Procedural Law 101. But the recording showed Karen nodding, the other board members looking confused, and then a quick, awkward hand vote. Like they were afraid of her. I clicked on another recording, one I hadn't watched. A special board meeting from a month ago. It opened with fuzzy audio, then the voices sharpened. Karen, and if the cameras don't cover the lanes, that's a safety liability. Board member, we can't afford new underwater cams, Karen. We're still repairing the sprinkler systems. Karen, then cut the sprinkler budget. This is more important. Board member, voice load Karen, this is about your daughter losing one race. Karen, you think this is about a race? Do you have any idea what's at stake? Then the rest went silent. Muted. Someone had redacted the rest of the audio. A chill slid down my spine. Someone wasn't just abusing HOA power, someone was covering their tracks. I closed the recordings and stared at the screen. Something about Karen had shifted recently. Her public meltdowns, her obsessive push for pool rule changes, the way she had erupted the moment Lily beat Madison at the summer meet. It felt less like anger and more like desperation. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Stop digging. I froze. Another message followed, seconds apart. You don't understand who she's connected to. My throat tightened. I wrote back. Who is this? The typing dots appeared, then vanished. No reply. I grabbed my car keys. If someone wanted me to stop digging, that meant I needed to dig harder. The pool at night. The community pool was closed, gate padlocked. But the side gate, the one maintenance used, was ajar. I pushed it open, heart pounding. Moonlight shimmered on the still water. The smell of chlorine hung heavy, almost metallic. The pool felt different at night. Deep or quiet in a way that wasn't peaceful. I walked toward the lane where Lily had been pulled under. My phone flashlight skimmed the surface. Nothing. Then I saw it. A long, faint scrape mark along the underside of the lane divider. Fresh. Like fingers had clawed against it. My breath hitched. Mark hadn't been lying. A splash broke the silence. I spun. Hello? Nothing. Just the faint ripple of water settling. I walked to the lifeguard tower. Something glinted near the base, thin plastic, snapped in half. I picked it up. A swim goggle. Not Lily's. I wiped dirt from the strap. On the inside, written in black marker. M.W. Madison Whitfield. A whisper of fear prickled the back of my neck. Why was Madison's goggle broken at the bottom of the lifeguard tower? Why was Karen covering up underwater activity? What exactly happened in that pool today? A sudden creak sounded behind me. I turned. Karen stood by the gate, half-shadowed, half-lit by the moon. She wasn't wearing her perfect HOA smile. Her expression was something else, tight, frantic, edged with rage. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. I kept my voice steady. Trying to understand what happened to my daughter. "Your daughter is a liar," she snapped. "And you're trespassing." "I found Madison's broken goggles," I said, holding them up. "Explain that." She flinched, just slightly, but enough. Then she smiled. A slow, chilling smile. "Kids lose things," she said. "You shouldn't jump to conclusions. I'm not the one covering up cameras, illegal votes, and..." Karen stepped closer, finger raised. "You think you can threaten me? In my neighborhood? It's not your..." "You have no idea what you're dealing with," she whispered harshly. "You think I'm the worst thing here?" Her voice wavered, unexpectedly. "You think you know what's under that water?" For a moment, her mask cracked and fear flickered underneath. "Fear?" I blinked. "Karen, what are you talking about?" She stepped back, face hardening again. "Walk away. For your daughter's sake." "What did you do to her?" She didn't answer. Instead, she turned and disappeared through the gate, slamming it behind her. I stood frozen. She wasn't threatening me. She was warning me. Home, 1:12 a.m. I reached home with my heart still pounding. I checked on Lily, sleeping peacefully, unaware of the storm building around her. I went downstairs, placed Madison's broken goggle on the table, and opened my laptop. Then I noticed something. A notification. New video uploaded HOA Safety Committee. Timestamp 10 minutes ago. I clicked it. The footage showed the pool earlier today, crowded, kids splashing, sunlight bright. Then, as Lily swam past the middle lane, the water behind her shifted. A shadow. Not a person. Too long. Too wide. Moving too quickly. A hand? A limb? Something else? The shadow grabbed at her ankle. The video glitched right at the moment of contact. Then it ended. My stomach twisted. This isn't about rivalry. This isn't about a jealous mom. Karen knew something in that pool wasn't normal. And she was willing to do anything, even nearly kill my daughter, to keep it buried. The HOA emergency meeting was packed, folding chairs scraping, whispers buzzing, tension thick as humidity. The community hall smelled of overbrewed coffee and fear. People didn't usually attend these meetings unless something big was happening. Tonight, something big was happening. Because I was about to expose Karen. And whatever was lurking in that pool. Lily sat beside me, pale but determined. She wanted to be here. "I'm not scared anymore," she whispered. But her fingers trembled against mine. At the front of the room stood Karen, HOA queen, power drunk, and visibly unraveling. She slammed her gavel with more force than necessary. This emergency session, she announced, is to discuss repeated false accusations, trespassing, and harassment against me and my family. Gasps rippled through the room. I stood slowly. You mean the accusations that you nearly got my daughter killed? Her face twitched. Sit down. You're not recognized by the chair. Recognize this, I said, pulling a USB drive from my pocket. I have video footage from the pool that shows what really happened. Every head turned. Karen's expression froze, pure panic flickering across her eyes. Security footage is confidential, she snapped. Unauthorized dissemination is a federal. You uploaded it to the HOA site yourself at 1:02 a.m., I said. It's public record. Murmurs grew louder. I plugged the USB into the projector. Karen lunged forward. Don't play that. The screen lit up. The room went silent. The footage. There it was. The bright summer pool. Kids laughing. Parents chatting. Lily swimming strong down lane 3. Then the moment everything changed. A dark blur twisted beneath the surface, long, swift, unnatural. The water behind Lily rippled violently as something grabbed her ankle. The room gasped. Parents leaned forward, mouths open. Tom, the pool manager, whispered, "Oh my God." Karen slammed her hand down on the table. It's a glitch. It's. The video paused on the shadow's outline. Long, too long. Like an arm but boneless. Like fabric but alive. Does that look like a glitch? I asked quietly. The room erupted in whispers. Is that? What the hell is that thing? Was that under our kids? Lily squeezed my hand. Karen's face drained of color. She edited it, she said weakly. She's framing me. I looked at her. Then explain why Madison's broken goggles were found next to the lifeguard tower last night. A ripple of shock moved through the crowd. Karen's breath hitched. Lies. She broke them during the struggle, I continued. Mark, the lifeguard, saw something too. He tried to report it. You threatened to fire him. Mark, sitting in the back, lifted his chin. I did see it. I was scared to say anything. The room's energy shifted, heavy, dangerous. Karen stepped backward as if the walls were closing in. You don't know what you're dealing with, she whispered. Then tell us, I demanded. What's in that pool, Karen? What have you been hiding? She shook her head, hands trembling. I tried, she said, voice cracking. I told the board we needed more cameras. I told maintenance to drain the deep end. I told everyone, but no one listened. Her voice rose into a frantic pitch. It wasn't supposed to hurt anyone. I just needed it to leave Madison alone. The room went dead silent. What needed to leave her alone? Someone asked. Karen's eyes darted toward the projector screen. The frozen shadow on display. That, she whispered. Whatever that is. People recoiled instinctively. You knew? I said, rage rising. And instead of warning anyone, you blamed my daughter? You tried to silence us? Tears streamed down Karen's face, shocking everyone. I thought if I controlled the schedule, the lanes, the swim meets, it wouldn't go after the kids. I thought it was triggered by stress, or competition, or I don't know. She clutched her hair. It followed Madison after she had a panic attack in the pool last winter. It grabbed her too. A collective gasp swept through the hall. Someone shouted, "Why didn't you tell us?" Karen sobbed, collapsing slightly against the table. Because the HOA board would have blamed me. They already think I'm unstable. I was trying to fix it. Her breakdown was real. Raw. Terrifying. But it didn't excuse what she'd done. I stepped forward. Karen, what exactly is it? Karen's voice dropped to a trembling whisper. Something in the deep end. Something old. Something that shouldn't be there. I saw it once, at night, moving beneath the covers of Lane 2. She shivered violently. And I swear it looked back at me. Before anyone could process that, a scream tore through the hall. People jumped to their feet as a teenager burst in from the lobby, face white, chest heaving. "It's the pool," he gasped. "The water, it's moving. Like it's boiling." Tom ran to the door. "What?" The teen shook uncontrollably. "Something's rising out of it." Parents shoved chairs back, panic exploding. Karen covered her mouth, eyes wide with dread. No, it wasn't supposed to leave the deep end. I grabbed Lily and backed toward the exit. Then, the lights flickered. A deep, wet, dragging sound echoed from down the hallway. Something heavy. Something alive. Something coming. Karen screamed. The room devolved into chaos. I grabbed the projector power cord and yanked it from the wall, adrenaline roaring through me. "We need to get out now," I shouted. People surged toward the exits. But over the stampede of footsteps, over the terrified screams, one sound rose above everything. A slow, slick, dragging movement. Growing closer. Getting louder. Reaching the hall. Karen whispered. It followed the sound, the crowd, the panic. I clutched Lily close. The creature from the pool, whatever it was, wasn't hiding anymore. It had come out. And it was hunting. Chaos tore the HOA hall apart. Parents bolted through side doors, chairs toppled, papers scattered like frightened birds. Lily clung to me, her arm around my waist, her breath hot and rapid against my side. But all of us froze when the dragging sound stopped. Silence, thick, unnatural, flooded the hallway. Then a single drop of water hit the floor. Plink. Someone screamed. Tom, the pool manager, stumbled backward through the entrance. His shirt was drenched, his face pale, eyes huge with terror. It came through the drain," he stuttered, pointing with a shaking hand. "Climbed out like it wasn't liquid at all." The floor behind him glistened with wet streaks. Long streaks. As if something had crawled on its belly through the hall. Karen pushed past me, wild with panic. "Where is it?" "Where?" Tom's voice cracked. It went toward the main lobby." Every adult looked toward the dark hallway that connected the building to the pool complex. A hallway now filled with flickering lights. A soft, echoing gurgle rolled through the air. Something moved in the shadows. Something too smooth, too fluid, too long. Parents screamed. Some shoved past us toward the emergency exit. Others froze, staring. Lily held my hand so tightly I lost feeling in my fingers. The creature slid further into view, not fully visible, but enough to sense its shape. Long, rope-like limbs. Water dripping off its body like sweat. And where its face should have been, a shifting mass of ripples, like a drowning reflection trying to rise to the surface. Karen fell to her knees, sobbing. "It's my fault, it followed Madison. I should have gotten help." No one moved. The creature reared slightly, its form swelling and collapsing like lungs filled with water. Then Lily stepped forward. My heart stopped. "Lily, no." She lifted her chin, voice trembling but steady. "It grabbed me by accident," she whispered. "It wasn't trying to kill me." Her words hung in the air. Even the creature paused. Karen shook her head violently. "It hurt you. It hurt all of us." But Lily kept staring at the shifting silhouette. "Maybe it's scared," she said softly. "Like Madison was." Karen sobbed harder, hiding her face behind her shaking hands. The creature lowered its limbs. The hallway lights above it flickered, buzzing, pulsing with some rhythm that felt like breath. I stepped beside Lily, terrified but unwilling to let her stand alone. "If it's fear," I whispered, "then we don't run. We show we're not a threat." The creature stilled completely. Its watery form folded inward, coiling like a frightened animal. For one strange, suspended moment, the entire room felt calm. Then a terrified parent sprinted out of nowhere, throwing a folding chair straight toward the creature. Everything snapped. The creature recoiled, letting out a sound like rushing water and cracking ice. It slammed against the wall, shuddering with a violent ripple. "No!" Lily shouted. "Stop!" But the damage was done. The creature lunged, not toward the crowd, not toward the scream, but toward the open lobby doors where the night breeze drifted in. It fled. Sliding with incredible speed, disappearing into the darkness beyond the hall, leaving a long river of water behind it. And then it was gone. Leaving the HOA in ruins. Leaving us in silence. The aftermath. Hours later, the police, animal control, fire department, and city safety officials swarmed the area. They claimed it was a burst pipe incident that caused water displacement. They suggested hallucination due to mass panic. No one believed it. But no one dared say what we saw out loud, either. The HOA board resigned the next morning. Community meetings were cancelled for the rest of summer. The pool was drained, fenced off, locked down. Karen disappeared for 2 days. When she returned, she looked hollow. A woman who had faced something no suburban schedule or HOA bylaw could control. She knocked on my door. Lily answered first. "Ms. Whitfield?" Karen's voice was hoarse. "I'm not here to fight." She looked at me. "I'm here to tell you, thank you. For not letting it hurt anyone else. For letting the truth out." I didn't respond. Some wounds didn't close that easily. She swallowed. "They're sending specialists to examine the deep end. Structural engineers. Wildlife experts." She hesitated. "But whatever that thing was, I don't think they'll find it." I met her eyes. "I know." She turned to leave but paused. It followed the kids who were under pressure. Who felt watched. Judged. I think it feeds on that. "What makes you think that?" I asked quietly. Karen looked back with a haunted expression. "Because when it first grabbed Madison, she told me she felt like she was drowning before it even touched her. Drowning from the inside." She left without another word. 1 month later. Life slowly returned to the neighborhood. The pool remained drained. The deep end covered with a tarp. Kids avoided the area. A contractor crew came and went daily, claiming they were inspecting structural damage. But at night, sometimes, I heard it. A faint sound. A shifting ripple. Water moving even when there was no water left. Lily heard it too. She'd look up from her homework and ask, "Mom, do you think it's still down there?" I didn't know how to answer. Because part of me believed the creature had left. But another part knew better. Some things don't leave. They hide. They wait. They adapt. And the HOA pool wasn't the only source of stress, competition, and pressure in this community. One night, as I took out the trash, I paused. The street was dark. Still. Silent. Then I saw it. A wet trail. Faint. Leading from the storm drain, across the sidewalk, toward the houses. The same long, dragging pattern. My blood turned to ice. It wasn't trapped in the deep end. It was exploring. Learning. Moving. And it wasn't finished with us. Not even close.